Hello, guys. Welcome to CosmoBuzz. This is your host, Giri, and we have other amazing guest today, Shubham. Shubham is a space CEO of Space Resources Laboratory and also a space enthusiast. So, talking about CosmoBuzz, in CosmoBuzz, we have a lot of guests who come here and talk about all their personal networks and all their personal experiences. Today we have Shubham, and hello, Shubham. You can introduce
Hi Gary, how
yourself.
are you doing? It's been a long time. Uh,
Yeah, it's been quite a
we
while,
we
to
met
be honest.
last
Yeah,
we met last year in Turkey in September, so quite a while
yeah,
now.
it's been quite a while, Shivam. How are you? How is
Uh,
everything going on?
I'm all right. I'm great. Finally we get to see the sun in the UK, which is probably going to last maybe a week or so, but that's how it is in the UK.
Yeah, I can say it's really good to see sun after a long time because I live in Lithuania as well. It's been quite a
Yeah.
while.
Oh
So,
yeah. I mean, we
yeah,
we don't see the sun in the UK.
yeah,
Probably 7 days or 10 days a year. That's it. That's it.
yeah, yeah. And in our podcast today, we are Cosmobus as a unit. We promote space enthusiasts and seasonal professionals. They can
Uh-huh.
connect, network, and share their knowledge and help people to learn more about space industry. So
Brilliant.
our goal is to provide some comprehensive discussions rather than just just being like more serious kind of people. We are just more fun kind of people in space industry. So yeah, we are like kind of young professionals who want to be space engineers and also want to make it in a fun way, not in a serious way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, talking about Shubham, I met Shubham in Turkey. At the time, I think I had a different brand, different broadcast. Now I'm trying to brand everything and bring it under an umbrella called CosmoBuzz, and we are
Uh-huh.
let.
No, I've been seeing quite a lot of your posts on LinkedIn,
Yeah,
and it's been great. By the way, I love the logo. It's
thank you so
amazing.
much. Thank you so much, Shubham. And also, you can just quickly introduce yourself about Space Resources Laboratory on what you guys exactly do here.
Mhm.
That,
Hi everyone. My name is Shubham, and I'm the founder and CEO of Space Resources Laboratory. Space Resources Laboratory is essentially a space subsystem provider, and we work primarily in the Cubesat and PocketQube industry. Uh, what I mean by space subsystem providers, we do everything that goes into a CubeSat, from structures to attitude control systems to electrical power systems, etc., etc. And maybe in a while, I'll show you some of the satellite structures that we already have here. Uh,
Mhm.
this company, basically, this company was started back in 2019, when I was in India. And I was actually trying to find a way to get back to the UK because, when back in 2018, 2019, we didn't have post-study work visas. So we had to come back after our student period ends. I was sitting in India and I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to do a job anyway, so why not register a company? And that's how it started, really.
Yeah, that's really quite a good story to be an entrepreneur, Shubham. So talking about your company's motto, I really like the motto. Like it says, "Reach for the stars with our CubeSats at unbeatable prices." So you
Yeah.
guys are providing some great prices for CubeSats. I see, like in affordable way. What are
Yeah.
your target audiences like? Maybe you can say about that.
So if you look at our website, it says that space is for all. This is our motto. We
Yeah,
we believe that even though it's been over it's been over 50 years since the moon landing,
yeah,
and space is still only accessible to a certain group of people, and
yeah,
we're trying to make space more affordable, more accessible to the smaller industry, and trying to bring space to everyone. One of the ways is we want to exploit CubeSats because they're so much easier and cheaper to build, cheaper to launch, cheaper to operate, and we want to make we want to make these subsystems at very affordable costs with very little lead times. And what we're also trying to do is we're trying to make a space sustainable solution. So we're working on a propulsion system that will help deorbit your CubeSats at the end of life, basically.
That's really cool. Space debris is one of the biggest problem we face in space industry,
Yeah,
and
it is.
deorbiting the CubeSats is really important when it comes to these kind of missions. Because,
Of
yeah,
course, yes.
yeah, you can you
Yeah.
can say it, yeah.
Sorry, I was just wanted to add that yes, space debris is quite a big concern, and the problem with CubeSats is they have a shelf life. Usually you want to use a CubeSat for 2 to 5 years, and what are you going to do after that is the question. If you leave it up there, uh, we're not going to stop launching CubeSats because they have a shelf life. So we have to continuously launch these CubeSats, and more companies are forming every day, and there'll be more and more missions in the future. But there's no space, and before we run out of accessible space in the low Earth orbit, we it's better if we start bringing down the satellites that we launch at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. When it comes to space debris, it can create a lot of problems for even the future missions or future
Yeah.
generation. We don't know what's going to happen when we are trying to launch a spacecraft or a satellite,
Hmm.
especially with this kind of debris which is happening. So I
Yeah.
totally agree with that, Shivam. One thing I agree with the industry is, we need to work on space debris. And
Hmm.
yeah, talking about your story, like what made you to go into the CubeSat sector? Like you had a lot of options, right, when you were trying to select your startup idea.
I think the story goes back to 2014 when I was doing my bachelor's in India, and
Okay.
I was working on this project called SRM Sat 2. I don't know if you've heard of SRM Sat, but SRM Sat is India's first student satellite that was launched successfully. And I was working on its successor mission. I was the lead design engineer for SRM Sat 2.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's when I decided, okay, it looks like I want to continue pursuing my career in the space industry, and I decided to do my master's here at Cranfield. I decided to do my master's in astronautics and space engineering.
Mhm.
Uh, and I came here. I was having the time of my life, and basically missed all the deadlines to apply for the jobs, all of the graduate
Yeah.
roles. So okay, graduate roles were gone, and some of the graduate roles that I did apply to, although they were not from the space industry, I wasn't successful. And I can tell you, I am one of the worst people to apply for jobs. I
Wow.
somehow I didn't qualify for any of the jobs. So I was like, all right, let's see what's going on. And then I started looking for startups in the space industry in the UK. And then I came across this company called Asteroid Mining Corporation.
And
And
now you're the CTO of Asteroid Mining as well, right?
yeah, that's correct. I'm the
That's still a
CTO of
success story. Yeah, still a success story.
Thank you, thank you. Basically, I had nothing to lose. I sent out uh, a query from on their website. There was this thing on the website where you could contact them regarding job opportunities. So I filled out a form, sent it over, and the CEO actually replied back. Brilliant guy, basically. By the way, brilliant guy, and he responded saying that yeah, we could be interested in your experience, and we could be interested in talking about a potential internship at the company. And I was already working on missions related to asteroids uh, back at the uni here in the UK. So yeah, we decided to have a few calls. I did a very brief interview, and they said yes, we'd like you to um, take up this internship opportunity. And that's when I started working on a mission for them, a 6U mission for the Asteroid Mining Corporation.
Mhm.
Um, And that was basically also used as my final year thesis at Cranfield University.
Mhm.
The and it, Once it ended, they offered me a full-time job, and they were missing a CTO, and they said, we really think you could be a potential fit for the company. And I really like the concept of asteroid mining. It's a brilliant team there. So I said, yes, I'd love to join. But one of the tricky bits during this time was that, we didn't have access to post-study work visas, which students do have now. So essentially, once your thesis ends, you've got about 4 months of time to find a job, and it's not just about finding a job; it's visa sponsorship. What I mean
Yeah.
by visa sponsorship is, you have to find a company which is licensed to sponsor your visa, and then it should want to sponsor your visa,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
then it
mean,
has to
like I
undergo.
have the same situation here as well, Shubham. I understand, when you're
Yeah.
non EU resident, it's like a big problem for us. And if you have big
Yes.
dreams and big goals, it's
It,
a
it
big
was quite
struggle.
difficult, I mean, I remember back in 2018, I was in India
Mhm.
during October. I went to celebrate Diwali at home after my course was over. I got this interview in the UK,
Mhm.
and they said, we'd like to invite you for an interview. I said, I'm in India. Could we do it online? And they said, no, you have to come in here, come into the UK and do a face-to-face interview. And I was a little skeptical because I think the interview was in 3 days from then.
Wow.
So I said, okay, or would you be sponsoring the visa? They said, yes, if you're successful, we'd sponsor your visa. And I said, all right. I talked at home, and I took a decision to fly back to the UK. So next day I fly. Uh, in 2 days I fly,
Mhm.
reach the UK. Next morning is my interview. I did the interview. I was actually one of the highest scoring candidates there. I did
Wow.
2 rounds. And then they said, we think you would leave us for a better company, so we cannot give you a job. So that's when it started getting a little difficult. Although it sounds very nice now that, yeah, you're overqualified and everything, but
Yeah.
it's not as, yeah, so that's good when it happens. So anyways, my visa period ended. I came back to India back in the end of January 2019.
Mhm.
I was applying for a few jobs here and there, trying to get jobs in the space industry, which is all the more difficult because the space fraternity is quite small
Yeah.
at the minute. So anyways, I then I was going to apply for this. I saw one of my friends got the graduate entrepreneur visa, which they've ended, by the way, now. So I thought, okay,
Yeah.
this might be a route. So I started exploring, and they said, now we're ending this visa. You can apply for a startup visa. And I said, okay, this sounds promising. I talked to my dad, although my parents, they've never stopped me for choosing what I want to do. My
Yeah.
father's my biggest supporter, and he's never stopped me from wanting to do
Yeah.
something that I want. But while talking about startup, I was still a little bit skeptical because startup is not the
That.
easiest of topics discussed in Indian families.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know how it is as well. For
Yeah,
us personally, I've been there, so
yeah.
it's
So
always quite skeptical. Like parents will
yeah,
be having some issues. Yeah.
yeah.
But
So
but I
what
think
I
now you just like succeed everything. Like I think you have a Forbes feature as well. Congratulations on that. Uh,
thank you very much.
that's
Um,
really something amazing. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just these things will come and go. I think it's more
Yeah.
important that the company succeeds. But
Yeah.
basically, when I talked to my dad, I was like, okay, so there is this visa called startup visa, and I'm thinking of applying for the startup visa. I'd have to register a company and work on a startup. And his reaction was, "This is the best thing. Why don't you do it?" And I was so
Yeah.
encouraged by that. I was like, "All right, I'm going to do that now." So I started working on an idea, and I'd been working with Cubesats and small microsatellites for a while, and I knew their potential. I knew how cost effective they can be, how um, useful they can be for smaller missions. So I said, "Oh, all right, let's start working on a startup related to CubeSats." And the whole belief has always been that we want to make
Yeah.
space more accessible to everyone. Um, so yeah, I started working on it. Meanwhile, there was another visa called the Tier 1 Exceptional Talent Visa, and I thought, all right, this sounds fun. Should I apply for this? And my dad was like, I think you'll get it. Apply for it. And I was like, I don't know, but because there are only 150 seats for engineers all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's obviously it's a gamble, and I said, all right, if my father's so confident, I'll go for it. I applied, and thankfully, for after waiting for about 10 weeks, I was successful. So that's how it all started. I got the visa. Uh, but once I had applied for the visa, then I registered the company. Those two things were quite separate. Whether or not I was going to get this visa, I was going to always register the company. I was going to take the startup visa regardless. Came back to the UK back in the end of October 2019, and yeah,
Yeah.
so that's how this company was born, basically, to out
Quite
of
an
a little bit of
impressive
misery.
story. Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of misery, a little bit of luck, and a lot of dedication to not go for a job.
Yeah, that's how entrepreneurs' minds work, you just have to be like quiet, patient, and
I
just
think you
waiting for
have
the
to have
right
a
time. Yeah.
persistent and yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think you need to have a persistent growth mindset. It is very
Yeah.
important. Yeah, grit is, I believe, the biggest quality of all the entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Entrepreneurs never settle, like they never like settle down with one thing. They always have this curious mindset where they have to be
Excuse
like,
me.
it's all right. So they have this curious mindset, where they want to succeed and they go for the next product. Like, let's
Yeah,
say for you as an example, if you're sticking with one product, the company is not going to be like, interesting. You go
of
on with a
course.
new
Yeah.
product every day. So
Yeah, I mean, you see this board. This board is it's
it's
everything
a
that we do.
new project.
No, not a new project. It's an ongoing project. But yeah, we are constantly working on our research and development wing, and
Yeah.
we're constantly trying to improve the existing products as well. I think this is something you need to do as a company, as an
Yeah.
engineering, as an R&D company anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's quite interesting on what you guys do, especially with on this specific field of engineering, because most of the people think CubeSats are like trash, and it creates more debris on the top of, like, on the layer. I forgot the name of the layer of the Earth. Like, what's the name of the layer? We say.
common line.
Yeah. Sorry,
Oh,
common line. Yeah.
common line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, space debris is a concern. It's certainly a concern. But I
Yeah.
don't think that science can wait, and you
Yeah.
cannot pause science. Basically, you have to
Yeah.
constantly have these missions. CubeSats are capable of doing more than ever now.
Yeah.
CubeSats are doing capable of doing like things more than ever now.
So, do you guys
Essentially, they
also provide like any other services than CubeSat solutions?
Yes. So one of the other things that we do is engineering solutions. So basically, let's say you're a startup
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to work on a physical product, but uh, you don't have either you don't have the skill set or you don't have the engineers to either make the design or even if you have the design, you don't have the engineers to perform analysis and simulation on the product,
Yeah.
and you don't have access to software. uh, so what you can do is you can come to us and we will do it for you. We'll create a very professional report. We will interpret the results that we get from the simulation. So you can you can continue to work on the product from there without having the need to recruit a dedicated group of engineers or buy expensive software, which I know is a
Yeah,
very difficult thing for startups in the beginning.
yeah. So yeah, and also I think I remember when I had a conversation last time, you guys were also providing some launch services as well, right?
Um, yes. So what we do is
Mhm,
when let's say you want to buy a satellite, you can get
mhm.
a fully integrated satellite from us, and you say that, can you find a launch window from us? So uh, instead of you going to various launch providers, we will talk to a bunch of partner launch providers that we have, and we'll find a launch window for you and get your satellite launched as well.
So basically, you guys are like the bridge for the big launch companies and the companies who are looking for launch providers.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we're trying to find an end-to-end, trying to build an end-to-end solution for the customers.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. That's something cool of you guys to do so because uh, this is something where we where people lack. People design
Mhm.
everything and they'll be like, when are we gonna launch? How do we launch? The first question is like, how are we gonna launch it? We have the design, we did all the electronics, everything seems working fine. How are we gonna launch it? And
Yeah, I think sometimes
uh,
finding the right launch window can take
yeah,
a very long time,
yeah,
and missions are critical. So it's important that you find the nearest launch window for your satellite.
yeah, nearest launch window and also the right companies as well. Some people go for some companies and wait for the launch for years and years.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
this is the thing. There are only a few providers. We're getting a lot more launch providers who you will be seeing, in the near future.
yeah,
Uh, that they'll be able to hopefully bring the costs down,
yeah,
bring the rush down. This has been a little bit of bottleneck,
yeah.
but I think companies there will be more and more launch providers in the near future. There will be a lot more from the UK as well.
Yeah, that's quite interesting to hear because we guys, CosmoBuzz, are based on London as well, and
Oh,
can't
are you in
wait to.
London?
Yeah, we guys are registered in London as well, so
Oh, brilliant. Are you around in London sometime?
for sure, like we will be there in London after a few months or something
Yeah, yeah.
to
Let me know
celebrate.
once
Yeah,
you're in London. Once you're in London, do let me know.
yeah. Sure, for sure. And yeah, UK space environment is looking so good, and I cannot wait to be a part of it. Personally, CosmoBuzz as a social
Yeah.
media networking company, we are ready to host humans. We are ready to, like bring more people into the space industry.
Hmm.
Yeah,
No, no, definitely. I
yeah,
think it's this is something that UK specifically should have done maybe 20 years ago.
yeah,
But we're seeing a lot more. We're seeing a lot more movement in the space industry
yeah,
in the UK, and it's great to see. Well, what the only positive I can take from this is that it's happening during our time, so we have more opportunities now.
yeah. I would say the total generation, like this
Yeah,
2020 and 2030s is really blessed for space industry because
yeah,
people from, let's say, if from 2010s or if they're trying to establish very late after 2035, 36,
yeah,
that window is like already saturated, that or it's too
yeah.
early for it. So it's like pretty much growing, and I can see a lot of startups, like hundreds and thousands
Hmm.
of startups in space right now, and all of them are growing like exponentially.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah,
course. I mean, if you look at the forecast and the survey,
yeah,
there's been a massive surge in the past few years,
yeah.
and the growth is just going to be exponential for the next few years. This is a great time for the CubeSat market. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, can't wait to hear from you guys as well, Shubham, on your future missions. And also, if you guys want to know update about Shubham's company or Shubham himself, we will be attaching his socials and his company socials. And thank you so much for your time, Shubham. Do you have any ending notes for this podcast?
No, not really. Thank you very much for having me, and it's always great to speak. It's always great to speak about the space industry, and I would definitely like to see more and more people being a part of the space industry, them realizing how important space is, and um, not just from a defense perspective, but there are a lot more capabilities. There are a lot more objectives of the space industry. I'd love to see more and more people join. And thank you very much for having me again.
Thank you so much, Shubham. And thank you so much, guys, for listening to the podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe for our socials. And see you guys on another episode.